The new Star Wars Outlaws footage that just released on IGN is controversial, and it's going viral for all the wrong reasons.
Stop it.
I wanted to give my thoughts on it, share my take on this whole situation that's unfolding at the moment. But before I do that, I need to tell you I was at a special event last week in LA where I got to spend more hands-on time with Star Wars Outlaws. It was the second time I'd played the game, and while I can't share much more from that event, apart from pretty much what I'm showing you now just yet, I can talk about my impressions of the game that I got a month earlier at Ubisoft Forward, where I got to spend an hour playing 3 different missions of the game. And I just want to say that the build I played even then, over a month ago, looked more polished than what we're seeing in this IGN footage that just released.
Thanks.
The build I played back then at the event wasn't the final build, and it doesn't look like this is either, and there's a reason for that. Generally, with these types of press releases and media that goes out about a new up-and-coming game, the developers will have given the publisher, or IGN in this case, the media outlet, an earlier version of the game. This would be from a few months back, some earlier footage that was probably captured by the developers themselves and was put into the press pack with media to slowly release up until the game actually comes out. That's kind of just a guess though, but that's from my experience generally how these things go. Also, I just want to go on the record and say I'm not being paid to say any of this. Ubisoft haven't paid me, and I'm genuinely excited about Star Wars Outlaws and excited to explore the first truly open world Star Wars game ever made. I honestly think there's a lot to love here, and even if I wasn't a YouTuber, I'd still be excited about playing this game. Speaking of which, if you watch my stuff regularly, you will have noticed this is not my usual setup. After the Star Wars Outlaws event in LA, where I also got to go to Galaxy's Edge with a bunch of other YouTubers, I flew to Argentina, where I'm hanging out now with friends for a few weeks. And I'm sharing a lot more from the Star Wars Outlaws event, from Galaxy's Edge, and from Argentina, all over on my Instagram and Twitter. So if you're not following me on those, go follow me there now. Hey everyone, it's Andrew. So the 10 minutes of exclusive gameplay that IGN released is actually from one of the game's side missions. This is kind of the game's answer to a skill tree. Instead of having a skill tree, they've built a system called the Experts. And these are basically a bunch of friendly NPCs you can find while exploring the galaxy that are going to help you upgrade all your gear, including your speeder bike, your ship, your blaster, other weapons, and other abilities. I think stealth is potentially another one of these. It was revealed some time ago that Lando Calrissian is actually one of these experts. You can go find Lando, he can teach you some stuff, and then you become a better player. Probably going to teach you how to gamble your way out of a Millennium Falcon. But in this case, the protagonist Kay Vess is going to meet the Hotfixer, who is a Jawa who seems to have a bunch of upgrades for your ship. In this case, she's trying to unlock the laser turret for the Trailblazer, which I think is like an auto turret mounted to the top of the ship. It's one of the earlier items you unlock. This was actually already unlocked for me when I played back at Ubisoft Forward about a month or so ago. And so we're on Tatooine at one of the Jawa's sandcrawlers. Now here immediately, a lot of people are criticizing the facial animations, which I 100% agree with do look kind of clunky, but let's be real, do they look different from any other RPG style game? Star Wars Outlaws is going for certain RPG elements. This mission here is a side quest and is an example of extra content in the game. I don't believe you actually have to do this. Even upgrading your ship and doing all these things, I believe, is optional. You could probably play through the game with great difficulty without upgrading anything. But maybe this is the kind of thing we should consider lowering our expectations for based on the context of this mission. But the concept of the mission itself is honestly kind of cool. Kay is tasked with going and collecting a Sarlacc tooth from a dead Sarlacc pit. And before we know it, she's hodling across the desert of Tatooine. Now, another thing a lot of people are criticizing is the fact we are back on Tatooine. That it feels like every video game and piece of Star Wars media at some point visits Tatooine. It's the most visited location in the galaxy, and we're going back here again. But doesn't that kind of make sense for a Scoundrel-style adventure? This is also the first time we're going to be able to fully explore Tatooine in an open world. So it's already been confirmed there's locations like the Mos Eisley Cantina and Jabba's Palace, but there's also a huge chance we'll get to go and explore the Lars homestead, find Obi-Wan Kenobi's house somewhere, perhaps even head to Mos Espa, see where Anakin grew up, see the home of Anakin and Shmi Skywalker, find Watto's shop, see the pod racing circuit. These are all possibilities within the open world, and I'm honestly super excited to explore Tatooine in an open world. Yes, Tatooine is overdone. Yes, it's in so much Star Wars media, but not in an open world. Apart from maybe LEGO Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. Don't you want to go and find a Tusken Tusken village and slaughter them all, not just the men, but the women and children too. That's possibly the experience that's going to be available to you. Don't complain about Tatooine, guys. We're possibly going to get the chance to relive Anakin's nightmares. I can't wait. Maybe that's what's going on. Maybe you all just don't like sand like Anakin. You're all Anakin lovers and you just don't like sand. It's coarse, rough, irritating, gets everywhere. What are you going to do?
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Now, a lot of people are saying this is also just a simple fetch quest. You slide down into the Sarlacc pit, make your way through a few obstacles Tomb Raider style. There's a little bit of platforming, there's a little bit of environmental destruction. You collect the tooth and then get knocked out and have to go and get it back from an enemy base. And yes, these mechanics are very Ubisoft. This is what they're known for in the Assassin's Creed games and the Far Cry games. It is kind of the same thing we've seen over and over again. But that said, we haven't seen it in Star Wars. I still don't see how it's necessarily that bad a thing. But please, honestly, tell me why I'm wrong. Part of the reason I make these videos is to open the discussion up with you guys. I want your opinions. I want you to disagree with me. I want to hear you convince me the other way. But then hopefully you can also digest my opinion and maybe we can meet in the middle somewhere. Now, the AI enemies is the other thing people are criticizing here, saying the enemies are kind of dumb, they don't have really spatial awareness, an explosion goes off and the others don't really come after you, but I don't think that's the case based on watching this. Yes, I will agree, maybe there is a little bit of delay in the reactions, but I just want to say, after I played this a month ago at Ubisoft Forward, the AI are definitely not easy to deal with. The stealth mechanics in this game can be quite brutal, and even in the 1 hour I had of that game, I failed the mission a couple times just because I couldn't get through some of the stealth sections because the enemies take you out quite easily. The player who's capturing this footage, who is likely a developer, is incredibly experienced. They're not only using the environment to their advantage, but also taking full use of nicks and kind of have a bit of an idea of where all the enemies are. They're making this look easier than it definitely would be for the average player. And I just think that's something that needs to be said. Yes, they're using the explosives. Yes, they're using some of the stealth mechanics. Their blaster is also upgraded here. This definitely wouldn't be an easy task to get through this section if you weren't already quite experienced with the game. And some of the frame drops and performance issues that I think are visible in this video are hopefully just due to the fact that it looks like an earlier build. These are elements that are hopefully going to be ironed out by the time of release. We learned that a few weeks ago the game did indeed go gold, which means the developers have finished the content of the game. It is done and ready to be shipped. There's likely going to be a day one patch, as there is with most games nowadays, and also several updates in the months after release to improve stability. And I just want to say as well, I'm really not trying to take either side here. I'm not trying to defend Ubisoft and some of the crappy things they've done in recent times.
So uncivilized.
I just want to give this game a chance before all of us judge it based on a 10-minute video. It's an open world game. There's so much more to explore here. There's so much more depth to it that we're definitely not seeing yet, that I also haven't seen yet. And the environments in this video honestly do look really interesting. The desert of Tatooine here looks vast, expansive. You're going to be able to explore seemingly every corner of this. And then go straight to your ship, fly into space, and jump to light speed. The whole premise here is exciting. And in me saying that I think we need to give this game a chance, just don't pre-order it if you're not convinced yet. Wait until more footage comes out, wait until the game comes out, and then make a decision on whether you're going to play this or not. As far as I've seen, the amount of dislikes on this video and the hate that it's copying, I think is a bit of an overreaction. As far as a Star Wars game goes, there's still originality here. There's still a lot of promise, and I think it's still a lot to be excited about. And all that said, on almost all of my Star Wars Outlaws videos, there is an overwhelmingly positive reaction to this game. Yes, there's definitely a minority of people saying bad things about it, but overall, it seems like most of you are excited. I think the acting from Umberly Gonzalez, who's playing Kay Vess, your protagonist, is also honestly pretty good. Like I said, I still haven't seen much of her, and I've said in previous videos, I'm not going to make any opinions on the story. We still haven't seen much about the story. We still really haven't had much to get invested in the character of Kay Vess, which is why I've said in previous videos, I don't want to make any judgments about the story until I actually play it, and then make my decision whether I like Kay Vess or not. But please, let me know your thoughts about this. Let me know if you disagree with me. Let me know if you agree with me. Let me know what you like, what you dislike down in the comments below. Don't forget, come follow me on Instagram, Twitter, join my Discord, TikTok for more, and also keep an eye out for my full overview of Star Wars Outlaws coming soon. Thanks for watching this. My name's Andrew. I'll catch you soon.